You don't have relationship problems, but rather you have this. And we're talking especially to sensitive souls, to empathic women who feel deeply, who love deeply. You don't have relationship issues, but rather you have unresolved emotions. And today we're going to be talking about how to let go of all relationship problems for good. If you want to let go of the drama and the conflict and the anxiety of being in relationships, needing to figure out relationship, the key all comes down to this. And I know that you have tried to figure it out all. You may be thinking the question of why does he always ignore me? Or why do men ghost me? Or why do men pull away? Or why don't men love me back as much as I love him? You may be asking all these questions in the world and trying to figure them out. Perhaps you look online on how to communicate to him better, or how to show up in the relationship or in the dating world better so that you magnetize the man and they want you even more, right? But the thing is that especially if you feel things deeply, if you are an emotionally sensitive, a deep feeling woman, the thing is that trying to figure out how to manage this relationship, trying to control how you go about this relationship is not enough, because the problem that is actually happening is actually much deeper down. It is related to the depth of who you are. And you just haven't learned how to deal with, how to manage with the depth of who you are. Because the relationship problems, what's actually happening is that it's very similar to like a paint rust. So if you were to think of a paint rust, are you going to be like putting more paint on it? Absolutely not, right? The same thing if you're just trying to figure out what should I text him, how to communicate with him, or whether he likes me or not. If you are trying to figure out all these things, the thing is that it's just like adding a new layer of paint on top of new layer of paint. It's not going to solve the deeper root issue, right? Because there is this paint rust happening inside, so we need to clear out the rust that is happening. And also, as you if you see out there, a lot of dating advice is more like strategic advice, like here's what to say to him, here is how to text to him, and it's all about the doing, but we're not actually addressing the root of where all doing comes from, which is your inner being. So the thing is that when it comes to letting go of all relationship problems, if you it's where it's not just about getting married to someone, or it's not just about finally getting into a relationship with someone, but rather you actually want to let go of drama, right? Let go of conflict, have a really peaceful relationship. It's not it's more than just trying to figure out how to deal with men, but rather it's about learning how to deal with the inner depth of you, or rather you can say the inner depth of your soul. And the reason why we're talking about this specifically is because when it comes to having relationship problems, most women try to tackle it from the surface of it rather than the root of where the relationship issue. In fact, not just this particular relationship, but every relationship problem stem from, right? So what we actually want to do is we want to tackle the root of it, but many women simply try to fix the relationship issue by fixing just at the surface of it. So let's say, for example, he pulls away whenever you try to contact him, whenever you try to reach him out. So you may feel as though he isn't there for me, right? You may be saying that to yourself, or you may be, whenever he doesn't fully accept you, he doesn't fully allow yourself to be, right? Then you may also have similar inner thought experiences, and like you may say that he doesn't accept me, or you may say he doesn't love me, right? Whenever you're putting more effort into the relationship, but he does not reciprocate that way. And the thing is that when it comes to having these inner thoughts, many women try to fix that by fixing him. So we try to change our behavior, or try to convince him, or try to show up in some other different way so that he changed. So we think that in order to shift these experiences, we have to just try to convince him, try to somehow change what he sees, what he says, right? What he does. We think that trying to figure out, we think that the key is to try to figure out the man, try to like think what he is thinking about, try to figure out what he actually wants, right? We think that the key to having a good marriage, a good love life, is about trying to figure out the man. But the thing, my love, is that even if you're trying to still figure out the man, the thing is that, let's say he finally does a good behavior, right? He is there for you rather than actually leaving you alone, or leaving you pulling away. Let's say that he is now there with you, right? But then what ends up happening is that when we think that he is, trying to figure out him is the answer to it, the thing is that we spend our whole lives trying to like think about him, trying to figure out his brain, right? And so we can never fully be at peace, fully be without that inner conflict, that inner dilemma, right? That inner anxiety inside of us. And so what we want to realize is that when you want to have not just a relationship, not just a label, but actually a peaceful relationship, a committed relationship, right? Free from drama, free from conflict, the one that is in harmony, the key is to realize is that it's actually not a relationship problem. What you're facing is not a relationship problem. It's not about him, but rather it is about what's within you. Because the thing is that whenever we have these emotions, such as that he doesn't accept you or he doesn't love you, the reason why these are happening is because we have these inner experiences inside of us, right? We have these emotional blocks inside of us. The reason why you meet certain people, the reason why you're attracted to certain people, and the reason why you keep on being triggered by these people, the reason why all of this happen is because we have the emotional blocks that are attracting these certain people, these specific people. So let's say, for instance, in this example of he doesn't accept me, the reason why this happened is because there is a part of you that feels unaccepted. And the reason why he doesn't love me, because there is a part of you that feels unloved. So what we want to realize is that when it comes to relationship, it's not just about trying to figure out the other person, but rather it is to realize that whenever we get triggered by them, it is because we have these things inside of us. It's almost like the people that you're in a relationship with, they are like pressing your buttons, right? And whenever there is a button, you get triggered, you get into that alarm state, you get into that anxious, that frenzy, right? That type of state, emotional state. The reason why you get into that, the reason why you have these problems, quote unquote problems, is because you have these buttons. So the people that you are in a relationship with, they're pressing your buttons, right? So what we want to realize is that the key is that we can't just try to fix the relationship issue by trying to fix the external, but rather to realize that the root cause lies actually much deeper down. and it's within us. But that also means that you now have the power. You now have the power to change. You now have the power to create a new reality, right? To create a new foundation of relationships, to create a new dynamic, the new type of relationships, the types that you actually desire. And so, when you want to let go of all relationship problems, the key is to realize that what you have to manage is your own emotional state, your own emotions. It is not about needing to manage him. Because when you manage your own emotions, when you learn to master and to regulate and to be with your own emotions, this will naturally get resolved. You don't need to figure out, you don't need to overthink how to text to him, what to text to him anymore. You naturally just interact in that way, right? You naturally speak in that way that actually creates love, create connection, create bonding. And how do we change that? We do that by going to the root, which is the root of your emotion. So let's say, for instance, the emotional block that you have is loneliness, right? So whenever he is pulling away, whenever he is inconsistently showing up, right, what it's actually doing is that it's actually triggering this emotional state of loneliness, this emotional state where it feels like nobody is there with me, right? And as long as you have this loneliness, no amount of you trying to convince him to come back to you, no amount of you trying to communicate and speak your needs, no amount of you doing these strategies are going to work. Because what's going to happen is, let's say, because of this loneliness, instead of trying to deal to work with this, to heal this emotional state of loneliness, if the loneliness is working in your relationship, what ends up happening is that you end up feeling more needy, feeling more desperate, and there you try to go after him more, and what ends up happening is that you try to go after him more, and he tries to pull even further away from you, right? Pull further away from you. So it's almost like this endless loop of like, you try pursuing this guy even more, and then he withdraws back even more, but then you feel like, oh, maybe I should put in more effort to get to him, but then he start withdrawing back, right? And why do this happen? All of this dynamic happen because there is this emotional state of loneliness. So instead of trying to pull him away, right, thinking that he will finally resolve this inner loneliness, what you need to realize is that you need to face this inner emotion yourself, because nobody else can clean up your emotions other than you, right? So your partner is not here to regulate your emotions. They are here to mirror the emotions that are unresolved within you. Everyone around you, right? The people that you're attracted to, the people that you're in a relationship with, they are here to mirror the emotions inside of you, so that you can actually work through them, so that you can actually realize who you are, realize the power of who you are. And the same way, let's say you have an unresolved emotion of shame. And you may think that, oh, he's always judging me, right? He's always judging me. He always like bicker about what I am doing, how I am showing up, or whatever that may be. You may feel that he is the problem. You may think that, oh, I need to somehow convince to him. But the thing is that the reason why this phenomena, right, we're having this experience is because we do have this inner emotional block, which is shame. And whenever you feel shame about yourself, he is causing even more shame to you, right? And so you may again, like in this situation, you may try to change your behavior for him, fix yourself for him, or fix this relationship in order to meet his needs, in order to meet his desires. But the thing is that as long as you are have harboring this emotion of shame, you're still going to be thinking that something is wrong with you and that you are never good enough, right? And no matter who you are in a relationship, you will always continue to feel like I'm never good enough for him. I always need to do this XYZ in order to be loved by him. And which is the reason why if you keep on finding yourself in continuously in the same relationship drama, the same relationship cycle, the same patterns, no matter, especially if even if you try to break up and then next guy, next man, you keep on repeating the same, seeing the same issues in it. The deeper root is that it's not about him. What you want to realize is that it's about what's inside of you. Have you seen, have you met, have you truly learn how to be with these parts of you and fulfill these deeper parts of you, because only when you fulfill the deeper inner needs inside of you, then he can actually also come in to reflect that part, reflect your own inner needs being satisfied, your own inner state being loved, being cared for, being accepted. So yes, my dear one, this is the reason why when it comes to relationship, like let's say you want a marriage, a dream marriage, the key is to realize that is that the external marriage just a reflection of your internal marriage. You cannot try to have a peaceful relationship with another person unless you have been in a peaceful internal marriage within yourself. And with that being said, I hope this sparks you this deeper realization, the truth of how powerful you actually are, realizing how you never have to be a victim to how men or how people treat you, but rather realize that the key to having peaceful relationships with in anything is about coming back to you and having the peaceful relationship with yourself. With that being said, I'm sending you so much love, and if you desire deeper support with it, you can check out the link in the description box where you have a one-on-one free consultation session with me and see what inner shift is your heart wanting to experience in order to change your relationship dynamics for good. Much love.